From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between, this is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go. We are back live from beautiful Moody Gardens in Galveston, Texas for the 2025 TASCO Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention, powered by our great friends at Texas Vet Realtor, Jeanette Spain at texasveteranrealtor.com. Glad to be powered by her and helping us out here today. And I'm joined now for our next episode here, episode 143, with a gentleman who knows I know very well and has to put up with me on a daily basis. I am joined by Rob Rush, the head men's soccer coach of the New Braunfels Canyon Cougars. Coach, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's how are obviously you're past longtime board member. You have an extensive history, Hall of Honor inductee as well. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts, TASCO 2025 so far.
Well, Galveston's a great place to be at this time of the year, and it seems like the convention grows every year, and numbers continue to grow, which is awesome. I think the landscape of high school soccer is going in a positive direction, and TASCO obviously has a huge role in that, and it's always been an honor to have been in TASCO for so long and be a member, and then to be able to serve on the board and of course be in the Hall of Honor. That's great honor as well.
Yeah, 2016.
2016.
2016. Man, you're coming up on a decade.
I know,
right?
It's crazy. It doesn't seem that long.
Yeah, crazy. So, thoughts on. So obviously you've seen it, what it used to be and what it's evolved into now, but not from so much maybe the convention perspective, but when you look at it from, I guess, the 35,000 foot view, right? Just the state of Texas high school soccer at large, and coaches as it relates to coaches in Texas high school soccer. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I've been in coaching now 33 years, and in soccer, a lot has changed. There used to be, high school football coaches that were assigned to soccer and had no idea what was going on. And now I think for the most part, most head coaches in the state have soccer experience. Most of them played at a decent level and understand the game. And so I think in that terms, we've evolved a great distance. I mean, there's still strides to be taken, but
of course.
I think obviously we're going in the right way.
Yeah. So, the initial vibe today so far, obviously we just started a couple hours ago. Your takeaway, interacting with different coaches, different colleagues. What's the vibe you pick up on this specific event so far, a couple hours in?
I think everyone's ready to go. Everyone wants to start their season. That's a conversation I've had with several people, is that let's get this going. And, we've got a week left basically before we can go full speed, but that's kind of the underlying, and of course running into guys that I only see basically here, and so that's fun to catch up with people.
Yeah. So Galveston, you and I we kind of stumbled across this by accident, but Galveston's a pretty special place for both of us, right? Near and dear to our hearts. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about that? We got something very much in common with that.
All right. Well, I got married here on the beach, and discovered that you as well, same thing. So we have that in common, and so Galveston does hold a very special place in my heart.
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife and I both. I tell her all the time it was the most special day of her life. Right? Of course, I'm kidding. Quite a special day of my life, our lives for sure. But we start looking ahead to the year, the upcoming season. But before we do that, the year that was, right, this past year, was one of the most historic seasons in recent memory because our sport went under some dramatic changes, right? It's from the D1 D2 split, the mercy rule, and whatnot. 1 year under our belt, and maybe you might have had very little experiences with that, but 1 year under our belt. What are your personal thoughts on those two?
To be perfectly honest, I'm not a big fan of the switch at the state. I really enjoyed the state tournament format that we had,
Right.
and I think that has been taken away from a lot of the experience. Has been taken away now that you go and play only the state championship game. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But I understand it rewards more people, more state champions, and all that. So I mean, I get that part of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I wish there was a way to hold the tournament like they used to hold
Yeah.
it, and you could see a team play a couple times. You know, the two playing for the state championship. You get to see them play twice at least.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like, I've had that's an ongoing conversation that I firmly believe that, Ray Zepeda and his staff over at UIL, like, they get that, right? That's kind of an ongoing thing that's on their radar as to, hey, how can we got this great part added to it, but now how can we remedy this? Or, because there was some issues with regional tournaments last year as well, or not regional tournaments, but regional host sites, right? Different places that were hosting regional finals. So volleyball, as you know, kind of went to a different format this past year. Don't know what the feedback is on that yet, but I'm hoping it's a good one. But they're kind of the pilot program for what they're trying to do with a kind of a more of a true state feel, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't know either. Obviously, I'm an assistant volleyball coach, so but this was the first year they switched it and had a regional championship site set.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the coaches' thoughts are on that.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like that's something that, and that's part of what Tasco does not, as an organization, does not make the laws, does not make the rules, right? But they can advocate, right? They can champion, they can bring certain things up. So I feel like for coaches if that's important to you, I think you have to have those conversations with your athletic coordinator. You have to have that conversation with your district athletic coordinator. You have to have that conversation as well. You should be a Tasco member, having those conversations with your regional directors within your respective region and Tasco as well. I think so we can make a push for that to, if nothing else, be on the UIL legislative staff's radar when they meet.
For sure. I know back when I was on the board and I presented in front of UIL two different rule changes at two different times, and that came from the membership. I mean, that came from the coaches around the state, and it's what the majority of the coaches wanted to do. So Tasco took it to them, and it's a process, but I mean, it works. It does work.
Yeah, and I firmly believe that. I think when UIL is motivated, obviously, I mean, we saw these two dramatic changes happen just like that this year or this past year, right? So I don't see why it can't. When it wants to do something, it can happen, right? So it's kind of one of those things too, where I think when there's strength in numbers, and if it's an ongoing thing that is being advocated for, it can possibly, if nothing else, strongly be considered going forward. But I do get it, as you said. We had 9 of our 12 state champions were first-time champions, right? So that was a great thing for one. And then the other thing too is, just seeing so many more programs were in the mix that previously weren't in that mix. So, and I think also the other byproduct of doing away with that regional quarterfinal round, right, I think was a good thing. So we'll see, a lot more to come. But lessons learned. We shift gears here. We start talking about your program, your boys. The year this past year, 24-25, the key lessons learned from that year that have propelled you forward as you guys get ready for the 25-26 season?
Well, last year was the first year in 17 years that we did not make the playoffs, and so I
was going to let you say that.
So that was
17 years.
We had a 17-year streak, and that got ended last year. So obviously, one of our big goals is to get back in the playoffs. And I do believe that we have the right personnel to do that this year. So hopefully everything lines up, and we do get to play a few extra games at the end of the year.
Absolutely. What was from the coach's perspective, right? That's almost 20 years of always doing something at when the regular season's over. What was maybe the biggest lesson learned from the head coach's perspective for you on that front? Because that's kind of new. That's new territory, man.
It is. It was an expectation. I mean, it was like we're in the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs, and then last year we didn't. So, I guess lesson learned from that is that you just can't expect it. You can't rest on anything, and you've got to fight for it every year.
Yeah, yeah. So this year it's my introduction to our district, right? 29-6A, and I just had this conversation with Coach Goodling. And obviously, you can speak to it more on the boys' side, but I always love to ask coaches this. If you could find a couple of words to maybe describe 29-6A personality, the personality of the district, the characteristics of the district, how would you describe playing in that district?
It's a tough district, and it's a 7-team district. And I mean, on almost any given night on the boys' side, anyone can win. I mean, there's a lot of parity. It has been traditionally a very strong district, and we feel like if you get out of district, that you should be able to go a few rounds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I'm being indoctrinated into it this year, but I'm looking forward to it as well. And I think it's every bit as tough on the girls' side. Thoughts on February 2nd coming up, the UAL realignment? What are your thoughts there?
Well, we talked last night off camera, obviously. Yeah. I don't think a whole lot's going to change in our district, but some of the projections I've seen, and who knows if they're right or wrong, but has us going down to a 6-team district, which makes it very difficult to find games preseason wise. Mm-hmm. Because so many of the districts around us are like 9 and 10 team districts. Right. But whatever UIL does, I mean, I don't even want to predict because you'd be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, right. So it's gonna be an interesting day, interesting setup to see where. And as I always tell people, it's like fully anticipate 1 to 2 curveballs in every region and every classification. For
sure.
I think without a doubt.
And we're in that spot where we can go with San Antonio or Austin area, so we're pretty flexible what they can do with us or who they can throw in with us. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I sometimes wonder. I've had conversations with my assistant about this. It's like how they view. Obviously, it's driven by enrollment, but the logistics of almost how they do in college with travel partners, right? Where certain programs are kind of almost package deals, right? Like in our case, you have Clemens and Steele, right? Would it be us, Canyon, with San Marcos, maybe? Because if there's somebody in our current district who you could maybe see going north again, it would probably be Buda Johnson.
Correct.
Right. So,
but I don't think San Marcos is paired with us just because they hadn't been in our district for a long time up until this most recent. So I don't know. Obviously, if it's Comal ISD, but I don't. It doesn't sound like any of the Comal ISD schools are moving up to 6A. So,
well, they seem to be. There seems to be a lot of talk back and forth with Piper.
Possibly,
so that'll be the interesting one for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So you look ahead to this year, Coach. What has you maybe the most excited about your Canyon boys? If you could, hit on one or two key pieces, and also maybe one or two of your boys that should be on more people's radars across the state of Texas that isn't right now.
Well, I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I had 2 years ago, I had a freshman lead my varsity with 29 goals. Mm-hmm. And as a sophomore, his family moved to Tampa for his mom got a new job. Yeah. And they decided to come back to New Braunfels, so he is back on our team.
There you go.
PAPFs are all turned in, and he's ready to go.
There you go.
So I'm hoping that Jordan Conrad is as good as or better than he was his freshman year.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to see how and that was the one piece we missed last year. I felt we were pretty solid goalkeeper, defender, and midfield, and we just didn't have a finisher. Mm-hmm. And we've got that back now. Yeah,
awesome. So aside from that and highlighting a specific player, anything else got you particularly excited this year?
Just ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm tired of of playing against our own guys. I'm ready to
Tell me about
see
it.
a different color jersey.
Exactly. I think that's where everybody is right now, right? Is like he's tired of scrimmaging each other, right?
Yeah.
No different with my girls. So your thoughts? Tell us a little bit, right? This because you've been at Canyon for a while, right? Tell us about your time there at Canyon, the program, everything. Just you don't. It seems like now you don't see as many coaches at one place for so long. How did that come to be?
Well, this is my 29th year at Canyon. When I got to Canyon, it was about 900 students, and now we're at about almost 2,600, I think,
Wow,
2,500.
somewhere in there, yeah.
And I think I've gone through 3 major building remodels. When I started, of course, we were a grass stadium with a huge crown, which was awful for soccer.
Of course.
And now we've been through several turf fields, including the red turf.
Yes.
And
When was it? When did that change? By the way,
man, it's been 10 or 12.
that was where the existing turf is the one that changed from the red.
No,
No?
we've had 2 replacements since then.
So
we're on our
iterations.
second. Yeah, so
I gotcha.
it's been a while. It's been 14, 15 years probably.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then it started fading, and it was not really red. It was more of a
Yeah.
dark pink.
But now, what was it like playing soccer on that?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. And I don't know if Bill watches this, but Bill Anderson, who he was at Pflugerville Hendrickson at the time.
Yeah.
They were coming to play a non-district game, and he said, and this was when we wore white at home and dark away. So he calls me and he said, "Hey, you want to wear red and we'll wear white and so your home fans can see your other kit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care, whatever."
Yeah.
I said, "Sure, we'll wear red." So he tells his team, he goes, "Yeah, their coach demanded that they wear red so they'd be harder to see on the field."
Of course.
And he tells me this right before the game, and I'm like, "Dude, you're the one that asked me." So anyhow, that's one of the funny stories. But it wasn't. I mean,
So was it? Was it
no,
any sort of?
It was not.
No.
I think for football it was a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say
Because football did wear a red jersey sometimes at home, and I think sometimes the ball kind of got lost in in there. So yeah,
I was going to say Boise State kind of claimed that. I think right with the blue on the blue and
So I think for football it was more of an advantage than for soccer.
Yeah, gotcha. Interesting. So we're talking with episode 143. We're talking with Rob Rush, the head men's soccer coach of the New Braunfels Canyon Cougars. Thoughts, words of wisdom, anything for me, Coach, as being your counterpart there on the women's side. As I enter the mix there, my first year at Canyon, I'm a semester in, pretty much. Takeaways, thoughts, anything you can share?
Nothing in particular. I've obviously I've seen a few of your workouts because of my class schedule. I've been able to watch some of your stuff, and I think you're doing a great job. And I think the girls are buying into your program, and so I'm excited to see how far you take the girls this year.
Yeah. I know they're obviously you're particularly close in stepping in last year and helping them out a good bit. So I appreciate that as well. I think, and they have nothing but great things to say about you. So really appreciate all of that, and thank you for your support. Excited for my time, my time that I've been there already at Canyon. Tons of support, and I'm excited to see what we can do, and hopefully get both of our squads.
Hopefully, hopefully we're playing same site and have a big crowd, and
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, I've done that before. I've been on the visiting end of that. I would love to be on the home end of that for once.
I don't win very many coin tosses, so don't count on me for it.
Hey, we got to go. We got to go to the exact same. Where was it? Amarillo. Go to the exact same truck stop of that one that just happened. A week and a half ago.
Three-way one.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. So, we start wrapping up here, Coach. Thoughts on? Well, actually, one thing. So. Normally, one thing I've been doing as of late is whenever I have a guest on, I pepper you with questions for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. So I want to give you the opportunity. Anything that's on your mind, any questions, anything you... Awesome. Appreciate you. Any question, single question, anything for me? The floor is yours. Fire away.
Traditionally, who is the best boys and the best girls soccer team? That if you had to pick one team, and this is a tough one, from whatever year,
Yeah.
the Kleins, the
Yeah.
Planos, the Friscos, whoever, who's your best boys and your best girls high school team?
So are you speaking more as a program?
As a program.
Yeah. Ugh, man. That one is like, talk about bulletin board material here. I would say, no, you know what, though? I would say this is in kind of the recent form that I've had, just because I have so much respect and admiration for the coaches, the coaching staff, and how they do things, their program, their culture, what they're about. I would have to, so I have a nickname for Wakeland, right? Frisco Wakeland. And I called them, started really with Jimmy Langford on the boys. I mean, not Jimmy Langford, with Coach Holt on the boys' side, but then also with Jimmy Langford on the girls' side, is I call him El Cucuy, right? Because the boogeyman. Because they don't, they're kind of like the Michael Myers. They don't go away.
Yeah,
they're just year in,
always there.
Year in and year in and year out. You know what you're going to get from them. And one of the best things, and I've spoken, I was telling Jimmy yesterday, actually in our board meeting afterwards, that I've spoken to, our girls at Canyon. I've spoken to them about Wakeland as a standard in terms of just the consistency piece, right? When you watch them play, they're just, and keep in mind, we're talking about 14 to 18-year-olds,
yes.
right? But you're just not too high, not too low, and they just go to work, and you know exactly what you're going to, as consistent as can be.
They're, at the state tournaments, they were, both boys and girls were always fun to watch.
Yeah.
Always fun to watch. And they worked hard and they were talented.
Yeah. And ironically, my alma mater, right, Bel Air, El Paso Bel Air, only state title they have was against Frisco Wakeland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2019, I think it was. So, yeah. So I would say, just keeping with recent form, I would maybe say them in recent memory, probably. I would say that they're maybe the, I guess, standard on both sides, if you looked at it as a program.
For sure.
So, yeah. So I would maybe say them. So it's a good question, though. Good, putting me on the spot there. I like that. I like that. But as we wrap up, Coach, give you the opportunity, any shout-outs, thank yous, our stoppage time message, shout-outs, thank yous, anything you want to share about your program, your boys, your family, anything, any people at Canyon, anything you want to share, the floor is yours.
Oh, a couple of people, I guess. Dustin Davison, our principal, big supporter of athletics, all athletics at Canyon.
Absolutely. Give him a shout out there. Yeah.
And of course, I got a shout out to my wife because our spouses put up with so much for coaches, and she holds the fort down. When I'm at work all the time, and so big shout out to her, and I guess those are the two probably, and our Heather Sanders, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach Sanders.
She's been at Canyon just 2 years less than I have, so and she's been solid the whole time, and she's a big supporter of our athletics as well.
Yeah, she's been awesome, and she's a big reason why, as you know this, as to why I ended up at Canyon.
For sure.
So yeah, I've really loved her support. Grateful for her. Grateful for Coach Davison as well, or Mr. Davison, I should say. But that is going to do it for episode 143. Coach Rob Rush, the head men's soccer coach of the New Braunfels Canyon Cougars. Coach, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for jumping on for a few minutes. And also a Hall of Honor inductee. So always a pleasure, privilege to have any Hall of Honor inductee on here as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back shortly with more episodes here from the 2025 TASCO, Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention here in beautiful Moody Gardens. And again, go make sure you like, rate, subscribe, jump on our YouTube channel, subscribe there as well. You won't miss anything. Hit that bell for all the live notifications. Everything, 99% of everything we do is live. So our screw-ups, our mess-ups, everything, you get to see it all, so we don't hide from it. So go on there, subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's a big one right now that we're trying to push. But then you can also, the audio podcast on whatever your preferred podcast platform is, go on there as well. Like, rate, subscribe, give us a rating. If it's good, again, just go ahead, right on there, tell us you think we're good. If we stink, send those complaints over to Rafa, my co-host on Inside Texas High School Soccer, right? I share that all the time. But, Coach, really appreciate you. Had a chance to make sure sign our board as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more from the 2025 TASCO, Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention. You've been listening to the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on X at 50_50 pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep